听 listening.
我要巧克力。
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 They're just saying, I want chocolate. 说 speaking. 我要巧克力。我要巧克力。我要巧克力。读 reading. 我要巧克力。我要巧克力。借助拼音读 reading with the help of 拼音。我要我要七熬巧可恶课了毅力巧克力我要巧克力。写 writing. 用纸笔手写 handwriting with pen and paper. First, I'm gonna write the character 我 which means I. And then the character 要 which means to want. And then the word 巧克力 made of 3 characters. The first one is 巧 and then 克 and then 力. Don't forget to add the period mark at the end, which instead of a dot as in English is a small circle in Chinese. 我要巧克力。用拼音打字 typing with 拼音. The first character we have to type is 我 so 我 The second one is 要 要 so 要 The third one is 巧七熬巧and then 可恶课 and the last one is 力了毅力 and also put the period mark at the end. 我要巧克力。I just demonstrated with 我要巧克力 the listening, speaking, reading, writing, including typing of Mandarin. Have you noticed that throughout the entire process, Pinyin came up only twice? The first time is when I used Pinyin to help me read, and the second time is when I type. You got to know that Pinyin did not exist before the 1950s, and amongst the older generations of Chinese people, there are still a lot who can read and write without knowing anything about Pinyin. And in terms of typing, we also have a typing system based on the strokes of the Chinese characters called 五笔输入法, that is input method with 5 strokes. So in theory and in practice, Pinyin doesn't need to exist. Of course, nowadays everybody learns Pinyin, and most Chinese people use Pinyin as the input method when they type. But in terms of Pinyin as a phonetic guide, you are not supposed to use Pinyin anymore once you are past the 3rd grade in primary school. That is, once you are over 8 or 9 years old, you are not supposed to use Pinyin to read anymore. Small children are allowed to use Pinyin in the place of a Chinese character if they don't know how to write the character. But once they're past the 3rd grade, it is never allowed anymore. It is unfathomable to me how a great shame it will be if a grown-up use Pinyin in the place of a character. It never happens. So yes, Pinyin, it is useful, and you should learn it to help you read at the beginning, and also for you to be able to type Chinese. But then when you learn, try not to rely too much on Pinyin. Not to mention to use Pinyin as a language itself. Never do that. Pinyin symbols should never appear naked, that is, without Chinese characters. They should never appear or be used naked like this. This makes it look like Pinyin is the language itself. It is not. normally they should not appear at all. But then if they must appear, they have to appear. They must appear on top of Chinese characters as a phonetic guide, not naked as a language itself. Because when Pinyin appears naked, it looks like they are the language itself. That is not okay.